My mother's youngest sister, Chinni Mahalakshmi Subhash, is here, and I want to thank her. She flew in from Toronto to be with us this evening. Please, Chinni, will you wave?
So now you black. Now you black, Kamala. Yeah, right. See, you think we boo-boo the foo-foo. We're not boo-boo the foo-foo.
We helped us win in 2020, and we're going to do it again in 2024.
See, that, friends, is what we call the black scent, and that is the old country black scent. That is the black scent that all of these politicians bring out every 4 years when they want to go talk to the black folks.
I think the problem for the Republicans right now is that she has such a short runway and that she's not going to be so battle-tested. And battle-testing Kamala Harris would be a good thing for the Republicans. We've seen her enough, those of us who are in political news and follow her closely, to know she usually sounds moronic.
The community, the woman who was praised for breaking barriers and preaching togetherness, may have just let her mask slip. Her road to the vice presidency is unquestionably historic. She is the first female VP and the first of Black and South Asian origin, but her bond with the Black community has always been weak. Critics argue that her attempts to resonate with Black voters are more for show than substance. When Joe Biden picked Kamala as his running mate, it was like a bolt of lightning. People were excited and hopeful. Here was someone who looked different from every other VP we'd ever had. But here's where things get complicated, because being the first is one thing, actually living up to all those hopes and expectations, that's a whole other ball game. And now a leaked recording is raising a siege, and it's got everyone asking if Kamala's polished image is nothing but a mask. This isn't just idle chatter. Sources believe this audio is about to disclose some stunning truths about Harris and her evil woke plans. So here's the deal. One moment she's claiming her Black roots, and the next she's embracing her Indian heritage. Kamala's got this whole thing about being the first Black woman to be vice president. Sounds great, right? However, it should be noted that Kamala's background is significantly more Indian than Black. There's nothing wrong with being proud of your heritage, but why prioritize one? Remember when she said this? Back in 2019, Kamala Harris seemed to...
No, but I'm Black.
Yes.
And I'm proud of being Black.
Absolutely.
And I was born Black, I will die Black. And I'm proud of it.
Determined to set the record straight about her identity. But things get murky when it appears that her identity shifts depending on her audience. Take, for instance, her strong connection to Howard University, a historically Black college. She frequently references her time there as a way to emphasize her Black credentials. However, some question whether attending a Black college alone is enough to truly understand the culture. Then there's the issue of her past relationship with Willie Brown, a prominent figure in California politics. Some speculate that this relationship played a role in her career advancement. While it's not about judging her personal life, it does raise questions about her path to power. And what about her husband, Doug Emhoff? He's white, and while that's perfectly fine, some critics point to this as another reason to question her connection to the Black community. The problem at hand is that Kamala's identity seems to shift depending on the situation. One day she's highlighting her Black heritage, and the next she's leaning into her Indian roots. Her career is another area where she appears to have flip-flopped. Harris was once known as a tough-as-nails prosecutor, often described as California's top cop. As San Francisco's district attorney and later as California's attorney general, she was a staunch advocate of the tough-on-crime approach. She supported the state's three-strikes law, which imposed life sentences on repeat offenders, disproportionately affecting Black and Latino communities. Harris also took a tough stance on truancy, proposing to prosecute parents if their children missed too much school. These policies are a far cry from her current stance on criminal justice reform, where she now advocates for second chances and reducing prison populations. It's as if she has completely switched sides, from locking people up to promoting rehabilitation. Additionally, when she was Attorney General, Harris was not a strong supporter of police reform. She resisted initiatives to mandate body cameras for police officers, even though such measures were critical in addressing concerns about police brutality. Furthermore, she fought to maintain the state's use of prison labor, a practice some compare to modern-day slavery. Kamala Harris 2.0 presents herself as a progressive prosecutor, trying to convince the public that she's always been about reform and justice. But people are starting to question her past policies. If she was so progressive, why did she push such harsh measures in the past? As for her relationship with the Black community, Harris has always emphasized being the first Black woman to serve as vice president. However, that may not be enough to maintain support. The Black community is beginning to view her with suspicion, and it's not just because of her shifting identity. It seems like she's trying to play both sides, and now she's scrambling to do damage control. Harris has been making appearances at Black churches, giving interviews with Black media, and even trying to connect through music. But her efforts are coming across as awkward and disingenuous. Black voters aren't buying it. They have a strong sense for authenticity, and many feel used. Some are even questioning her Blackness, noting that her mother is Indian and her father is of mixed heritage, asking how that equals being Black. It's not just ordinary people expressing these concerns. Prominent figures in the Black community are also skeptical. They're looking at her past policies and her recent pandering and finding it challenging to trust her intentions. For example, Terrence K. Williams called her out after she received an award celebrating her Indian heritage, highlighting the ongoing tension around her shifting identity. In his post, he wrote, "Kamala, please quit ridiculing Black people and claiming to be Black."
Is here. My mother's youngest sister, Chinni Mahalakshmi Subhash is here, and I want to thank her. She flew in from Toronto to be with us this evening. Please, Chitti, will you wave?
So now you Black. Now you Black, Kamala. Yeah, right. See, you think
What can a VP do when her own community turns against her? Kamala's attempts to connect with Black voters have been unsuccessful, despite her use of personal experiences such as her childhood in Oakland, time at Howard, and favorite music. Hillary Clinton has used it. Everyone can tell she's trying too hard and doesn't sound authentic. Interview 846/91. Kamala's struggle to name her favorite rapper has become a viral meme. Interview 98/925.
I don't feel no ways tired. I come too far from where I started from. Nobody told me that the road would be easy.
Now Kamala is using it too.
And you all helped us win in 2020, and we're going to do it again in 2024.
This isn't just a minor slip-up. It's a glaring sign of her connection. Remember the claims about her husband's cheating scandals. These personal controversies only add to the growing skepticism about her public persona, which many argue is a series of carefully crafted deceptions. People saw through her BS, saying she tried to relate to the younger generation, and it couldn't have gone worse for this fraud. During that 2019 Breakfast Club interview, Harris casually mentioned her.
What were you listening to when you was high? What was on? What song was?
Oh my goodness. Oh yeah, definitely Snoop. Tupac. For sure.
What do you listen to now? What's your favorite?
Although Snoop Dogg and Tupac's careers began in the early 1990s, Harris graduated from Howard University in 1986 and law school in 1989. Either way, she was either baked enough to travel back in time or she hit the scene after graduating, raising eyebrows for a candidate whose slogan is speaking truth and demanding justice. Now you might be thinking, so what? People make mistakes, and you're right. But here's the thing. When you're trying to prove how connected you are to a community, being untrue. Kamala frequently comes across as a word salad when speaking in public, adding to the mistrust. She also has trouble coming up with insightful, long-winded answers.
She usually sounds moronic. She does. If you give her enough time to talk, she will confuse you with her word salad to the point where you're not sure you and she speak the same language, right? Is it me or is it her? She's not particularly clever. She's not particularly likable. She's reversed herself on everything.
Accordingly, Kamala is disoriented and unable to express herself succinctly and simply without a script.
Extraordinary testament
to the importance of having a president who understands the power of diplomacy and understands the strength that rests in understanding the significance of diplomacy and strengthening alliances. This is an incredible day.
This woman's a moron. Okay, so not only is this woman a moron, they will literally hide her from doing any interviews like this, okay, for the next couple of months.
This happens all the time.
So you're now no longer are you necessarily keeping those private files in some file cabinet that's locked in the basement of the house. It's on your laptop, and it's then therefore up here in this cloud that exists above us, right? It's no longer in a physical place.
It seems as though Kamala has an inbuilt laugh track that goes off at all the wrong times. She also has a habit of laughing the most awkward laugh at the strangest times.
You think, and if you asked the United States to specifically accept more refugees?
Okay. A friend in need is a friend indeed.
Okay, I can first.
It's gotten such that people are starting to wonder if Kamala has a mute button somewhere. Every time she tries to connect with regular people, it's like watching a train wreck in slow motion. There was this time she went to a bakery in Chicago and talked about how much she loved to cook. But then she started going on about how she can't live without her L3aked Dutch oven, because nothing says I'm just like you like bragging about your fancy French cookware. First serious question about border security cue the cackle tense situation in a foreign country time for a giggle fit. And don't forget the time she used this gem to stun a group of grown-ups when trying to explain electric cars.
Today, America has more than 500,000 miles of transmission lines, enough to wrap around the globe 24 times. These lines connect the power plants where electricity is created to homes and businesses and schools and hospitals across.
As if things couldn't get any worse, Kamala decided to collaborate with Taraji P. Henson on an advertisement campaign targeted at Black voters. Now, don't get me wrong, Taraji is a wonderful guy, but this advertisement failed to connect with the target audience by coming across as clumsy and out of touch.
What's on your mind? Oh, Madam VP Harris, I'm worried about the election. Women's reproductive rights are on the line. Our Supreme Court is on the line. Our basic freedoms are being tested, Madam VP.
And Taraji's better than this.
Like, at first I thought it was some type of skit.
Many mocked it, saying it was just another instance of Kamala trying too desperately to blend in with a culture she didn't fully comprehend.
Understand.
I know you've been traveling across the country. What are you hearing?
Yeah, girl, I'm out here in these streets. And let me tell you, you're right, Taraji. There is so much at stake in this moment. The majority of us believe in freedom and equality.
Another strange
Kamala experienced an additional peculiar episode in her profession during a stag chat with young actors that was staged to appear authentic.
Real interaction.
You know, one of the most important pieces of advice that I can offer you guys, and I want you to really remember this, never let anybody tell you who you are. You tell them who you are. Never let anybody suggest to you that you are what they think you should be. You tell them who you are.
People question her capacity to connect with people authentically if she uses actors to pretend to be sincere when they discovered it was staged. What does that reveal about her real-life interactions? Let's examine her political ascent from the beginning. When Harris was an Oakland prosecutor, she dated Willie Brown, a prominent figure in California politics. Brown was not only older than Harris by 3 decades, but he was also a former mayor of San Francisco. According to rumors, Brown even advised Harris to decline Biden's offer of vice president in 2020, implying that the position would be a dead end. Yes, you read that right. The San Francisco Chronicle revealed the truth about their breakup in 1995, shocking many who thought Harris was charming and intelligent. Even though Brown and his wife had been separated for more than 10 years, their relationship still haunts her, with some viewing Brown as an unwanted shadow. Harris' early career moves were greatly influenced by Brown, who was well known for his flamboyant flair, getting her some cozy roles. Even after their divorce, Brown supported Harris in her efforts to become the first Black district attorney in San Francisco in 2004, following her marriage to Douglas Imhoff. Debates on her dedication to Black communities have also been generated by a white guy, with some criticizing her sincerity and relationship to Black culture. Speaking of MHOF, he's had his fair share of drama. Rumor has it that he cheated on his first wife with their children's nanny, who was forced to quit her job due to the scandal. This only serves to further exacerbate the public's conflicted feelings toward Harris, making her personal life appear as contradictory as her political one. Kamala. Not only must Harris handle her own gaffes and mistakes, but she also has to deal with a much bigger issue that stems from the far right. They have their sights set on Harris and aren't holding back. You know how some people end up being everyone's favorite punching bag? Well, that's the current situation for the far-right camp. They're leading the charge and pursuing her as if she were their full-time employee. None other than Donald Trump has been criticizing her on immigration, claiming that she has utterly fouled up America's borders and is therefore unqualified to be president. Trump has disparaged Kamala by calling her a variety of names, even going so far as to label her demonic.
Person like this is president. No person who deliberately releases these kinds of savage criminals to prey on our youth and our people, not just youth. Elderly people, too, are tremendous targets, should ever be trusted with power. Again, she has no clue. She has no clue. She's evil. And we have to remember that, too. We have to remember. They understand they made some mistakes.
It seems like they've been searching far and wide for some sort of blackmail to use against Kamala, and it appears they may have struck gold. Remember that bombshell tape we talked about? This leaked recording is going to alter everything you thought you knew about Kamala. What's on this tape that gets everyone talking? It shows Kamala speaking in a way that many describe as fake and pandering to Black voters in order to win elections. Critics claim she's playing up her identity for political gain, and her remarks about her relationship with the Black community are alludes. This tape is highlighting Harris' political persona, particularly her past as a tough prosecutor compared to her current progressive stance. It creates a messy narrative full of contradictions, making people wonder how real she really is, especially since she frequently downplays her Indian background when it doesn't fit her narrative. The far right is seizing on this, using the tape to push conspiracies about her, questioning her qualifications and character to weaken her credibility. And many Black voters are feeling let down and irritated, seeing her more as a political opportunist than a genuine representative of the community she claims to represent. More than ever, people are talking about her authenticity. People are being forced to reconsider their preconceived notions about Kamala Harris as a result of all of these controversies, which have negatively impacted her reputation among Black voters. Although her role as vice president is historic, her connection with the Black community is rocky. In order for Harris to regain the trust of Black voters, she must move past her theatrical performances and become more genuine. It is imperative that she take on these issues head-on, repair the harm, and genuinely represent the community she claims to champion. The controversies are more than just noise. Only time will tell whether Kamala Harris makes a change or continues to stumble through controversy and suspicion.